Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. It's Saturday, so once again, here I am. So, let's get on with this topic, which is one that's kind of been in my mind lately for the past few weeks. And yes, it's on Trump again. What isn't these days? But it's going to be on something that I'm not too sure is talked about all that often, though I did see a pretty interesting article at the Washington Post, which kind of reflected my own thoughts on the matter. So that's what finally put the foot to my ass to finally spill it out in camera. So it's basically on his governing style, his leadership style, as it were. Now, a lot has been said about him and those in his cabinet having, leanings toward fascism when it comes to how they've been trying to dictate things, how they've been trying to, push certain laws and certain objectives. Now, it's not the scope of this video to explore whether that's true or not. I will, however, put a link in the text description to a list that I think would be helpful to anybody wanting to know, whether there's any validity to those claims, of fascism. But as for the scope of this video, we're not really going to be touching that. Nor am I going to be touching on whether he is inept or not. That's not really the scope. Rather, the point of this video is to show that part of the reason why he's trying to go about things the way he is, as well as the fact that he's being very frustrated by what's going on with, how so much of what he's trying to do keeps getting blocked. He's saying the Democrats are trying to stop me, the media is against me, all this other stuff. I think the main reason is because he's a CEO. More on that later. But he has a certain way of thinking that, of running things. He's used to running things a certain way, and it kind of clashes with the way the country runs, more or less. I think it's only now beginning to dawn on him that, yeah, you can't run this like the way you've been running your family-owned businesses. Let me dive into that. When you think of the United States, first we got to consider what it is. It is, I know some people say, oh, it's a democracy. Not exactly. It's not a direct democracy. It's it's a republic. It's, a democratic republic. We have a representative form of democracy. But it was generally formed with the ideal that power comes from those being governed. Power doesn't just simply come from on high. You don't have a priest who taps you on the head with a scepter and says that God has ordained you to be king, and then the king gets to do whatever they want. And the people just have to deal with it unless they're willing to revolt. No, if you look at the Declaration of Independence, they point blank state, no, the only reason why you get to sit on that throne is because we allow you to. People allow you to, whether they realize it or not. They think, yeah, we're fine with him being king, and that's that, more or less. And we're saying we're not fine with you being king. We're going to split from you because we don't recognize you, and we're going to form our own government. Because we know that power really comes from us. We get to choose who gets to govern us. Radical idea at that time. It's still a big deal, and it's one that I kind of wish in schools that they kind of hammer home more often just how big a deal that idea is. Now, think about that for a second. That's generally how our government is supposed to work. Even though we have a representative form of government, which means that we don't have a direct say in how the government runs or how we get people in there and so on and so forth, we still have some influence in how we're governed, more or less. It's the way it's supposed to work is you got checks and balances. You got three different main bodies of government, and the one with the most power, Congress, House of Representatives, Senate and House of Representatives, they basically are voted in by the people. And the idea is these people are voting them in because these representatives are supposed to have their best interests at heart. They have, a line to them saying that we want you in there to legislate laws, make laws according to our will and according to our particular desires. We want things this way. We put you up there so that you can make sure things go this way. So these representatives are still, ideally, they're beholden to the will of the people. It's not the other way around. The people are not beholden to the will of those in government. That's not how it's supposed to work. But think of a company. Now it gets flipped, doesn't it? Especially here in the United States, our form of, capitalism, there's a whole lot about power being held by those that run the company, not by those who actually work in the company. If you're the CEO or you're, a group of guys who own the company, you got your board of directors or shareholders or whatever, they dictate how things go. They may not even know how the company itself makes its products. Doesn't matter. You're in charge. You're the one who decides how it runs. You dictate to those below how it works, and you don't really give too much of a damn, really, what they think. You guys are going to be paid this much. You guys are going to be wearing this uniform. You're going to be doing things this way. You're going to be following these policies. And if you don't like it, you can find another job or you can get fired if we catch you not doing it the way we want. And that's how it goes. Power is just staying on high. You as the worker have no real say. That's how companies work. It's kind of funny how we got two powerful groups, basically. You got government, which is based on one ideal, but then you got companies, which are very influential in the United States, with another ideal. And if you think about it, they're butting heads a lot. And that should be a subject for another video if you really want to get into that. But we're talking about Trump's leadership style. So considering that what I just said about government in the United States, and considering what I said about companies, let's get back to Trump. Trump's a businessman. In fact, he's a CEO. Was. He's not supposed to be anymore since he's president. But he's used to having things his way because he ran companies. Well, what I say goes. I'm in charge. This is my company and I want things this way. You're going to do it this way or else. Well, actually, it's not as simple as that. I mean, yeah, that's the heart of it, but there's still a problem. Because even if you are a CEO of a company, it doesn't necessarily mean that, it's going to go my way. That's it. Because, see, here's the snag. Trump's wasn't really a CEO. Not like the way you would and I would think of a CEO. See, if we're going to talk about a company, you got actual companies, like public companies, those with boards of directors and shareholders who come together and form meetings and bounce ideas back and forth on the direction the company should take and, what new strategies they need to come up with. Should they form any alliances with other companies, form mergers, partnerships, worrying about business expenses, finances. You got all this stuff going on. And like I said, you have shareholders. These things, if you got a company that has shareholders, means it's a publicly owned company. And if you are a public company, an actual company, that means that you've opened up your shareholders, to be about anybody. Anybody with the means to buy stock, they're in. And you've been able to buy the most stock, now you got a say in there. And while it's not exactly completely democratic in that company, remember, the workers themselves really don't have much of a say. But there's still a decent amount of people, You're not just dealing with one or two or three guys. Shareholders and a board of directors. And the shareholders, come from everywhere. And they have a say in how the company's going to go. And remember, this is a publicly opened up company, which means they're now under regulations, government regulations. They're regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC. This particular group enforces certain rules that these companies have to follow, like having to give full public disclosure of their financial situation. That's important because the shareholders are going to want to know about that. They have to publicly disclose their decisions, their partnerships, their plans, their risks, their expenses, their liabilities, just about anything you can think of that the company, like if the company is making some type of important decision or whatever, the public's got to know. This is how we're able to, for instance, those of you into video games who know how, Capcom's not doing very well this year. Nintendo, despite the fact that their consoles aren't doing too bad, aren't doing all that great, they're still making, millions. Yeah, we know this because they're publicly traded. And under regulations, they have to release this information. So that offers a level of transparency that these guys have to follow under. Also, these companies are subject to audits. And if these audits happen to see something they don't like, ideally, people can get in trouble for that, even go to jail for that. So that means the CEOs of these companies are not immune and can be taken down by the law. Now, in the United States, that rarely freaking happens, but it can still happen, right? Also, another thing about companies is that they have to be well run. If you don't have a strong board of directors, and if you don't have shareholders who, for all their crazy greed, they're like, you got to do something to make more money. I don't give a damn how effed up the product is. They have to have at least some brains in how to run a company, or the company's going to fall within a few years. And the CEOs who are running the company, even though at the end of the day they're going to be like, well, it's my company, I'm going to do what I want. Ultimately, they have to have the company's best interests in mind. It can't just simply be about all the money going in my pocket. They also have to be willing to, they have to understand that, look, I can't make any stupid decisions that's going to make the entire company fall. If all they're thinking about is their own greed or making business decisions that are only going to benefit them and them alone and not their board of directors or their shareholders, it's not good for the company. It's going to fall apart. Which brings us back to Trump. He didn't really run a publicly traded company. His thing is a private, family-owned enterprise. So he's not a real CEO, not in the actual sense of the word. It was a self-appointed title, because what he actually was running is an LLC. And those things are basically designed to make sure that wealth stays within the family. That's pretty much it. They're there to give tax benefits, give flexibility to your finances, give you, financial and legal protections to your wealth. You're not under the obligations of a public corporation at that point. You're not beholden to shareholders. You're not beholden to a board of directors. It's all about keeping the money in the family. And that's what he's used to. He's used to running a family-owned enterprise where he answers to no one. He gets to call all the shots. Notice all the people that are in charge of his little family-run thing. It's just his family. And those who are incredibly loyal to him. So unless you're willing to kiss his ass or you happen to be blood related, you're not gonna. You're not in the company. You're not in the enterprise. Since he's not running a publicly owned enterprise, he's not under their regulations either. So he doesn't have to worry about following their rules, which means no public disclosures, no transparencies, none of that stuff. But there's also no real oversight. And that also means that some of the things in place that kind of help to make the company actually work, run efficiently, he doesn't have to deal with that either. So he can make whatever dumbass, stupid decision that he wants. And if you look at his history, you can see he's made a lot of dumbass decisions. Interestingly enough, the one time he tried to run a publicly traded company didn't work out too well. Because if it's one thing he's not good at, it's making decisions. I know I wasn't supposed to be getting into that in the scope of this video, but I just pointed it out to prove a point. When it comes to having to deal with something where he has to work with a group of people and they all have to come together to decide how things work, it doesn't work too well. He's used to calling the shots himself. This goes this way, so do it. It's not how the country runs. I mean, it's not even how a well-run business runs. Even in a well-run business, even with the way that's set up where, look, we tell you what to do. We're the board of directors and we're the shareholders and we want the company to go in this direction and the workers just have to work with it and that's the way it is. Even they have a sort of checks and balances thing with having a board of directors and having shareholders, having a soundboard for people to bounce ideas back and forth so it's not just one guy dictating how things go. He's not used to that. So suddenly you put him in a position where he's like, well, I want this to happen. And the Supreme Court goes, no. And then, what the fuck? That's not how the country goes, buddy. Not only is this not how the government works, that goes against the very idea of how the country got started. If you didn't know that, you shouldn't have tried to go for the job. That's, I think, the key thing here as to why we're seeing things, I was going to say in such disarray with this cabinet and what's going on right now. I'll just simply say this is why we're seeing so many of the interesting things that we're seeing. It's simply a difference in perspective and leadership style. It just doesn't mesh with how things work. Anyway, I'm sorry this went so long. This is now 15. I was trying to keep this under 10, but yeah, I had a lot to cover before I can get to the main point. Still, I hope you see the point. I'm not even getting into like whether he's inept. I don't want to go into that and fascism and all that. Just that one main sticking point. The fact that because of his past experience, the very things that people are like, well, because he was a CEO, that means he'd be great as president. Not exactly. You have to read between the lines here. It's his very experience and it's what he's used to that's now getting in his way. And time will tell if he will be able to move that out of his way and actually work with what's in front of him. Well, that's it. Catch you guys later.